can come to the dungeon and slay monsters.
Stop right there. You see him? That's my boy Will. He's a bit of an outcast.
Fire. Spring forth.
I'm tired of this shit.
In a world where magic dominates every corner of life, he remains talentless, unable to use any sort of magic at all. Despite this, he perseveres, constantly pushing himself, all to achieve his dream of becoming a Magia Vander, which, putting it simply, is like wizard Power Rangers who save the world. Now clearly, my boy is not a wizard, so what would make him pursue something that literally has wizard in the job description?
From her window on top of the world, she's looking right this way.
It's for his girl, man. Come on, you can't hate on that. Love is sacred. This right here is Elfie. She's a one-of-a-kind genius who became the youngest Magia Vander in history. Like, come on, shawty really like that. Her and Will actually grew up together. However, they were separated when Elfie ascended the tower and Will remained at the academy. He made a promise to reach the higher institution and eventually the tower so they can be together once again. But it ain't that easy. Besides the fact that he's already at a massive disadvantage, having no way to earn spell work credits, he also receives constant harassment and bullying from teachers and students alike. One such instance actually happens in the very first episode. Will is a few credits short of a threshold he has to hit in order to avoid expulsion, so his professor gives him a little intel about a monster in the dungeon, it'll give him a little boost. We've already discussed that Twin can't use magic, so he supplements his credits by killing monsters in the dungeon. Now Scion, his classmate slash bully, overhears this conversation and decides to go kill the monster before Will in order to sabotage him. But things take an unexpected turn. Upon Scion and his entourage entering the 6th floor, they run into a monster that's way out of their league.
Let's track down this Baskerville and call it a night. I'll cast search on this area too.
Damn, they got his ass. Will hears the commotion and full sprints to help whoever it is in danger, arriving to see Scion desperately firing magic at the beast with very little success. He takes a second like, is this lame ass nigga even worth it?
I could easily run away.
But you see, I know the truth. You're incredibly kind and braver than anyone else around.
Aww, ain't that so sweet? He bursts into action to save Scion and engages the monster in battle. Ooh, that boy nice! Will finishes the battle, leaving both Scion and the eavesdropping teachers in shock. Look at him, he like, no way he's doing that without magic. No fucking way.
Professor Edward!
Now, obviously, we've seen this before. World has power, guy has no power, guy struggles in world with power because he has no power. It's really a tale as old as time, and Wistoria doesn't really try to hide from that. If I'm being completely honest, this show is pretty generic. It doesn't really bring anything that's original or eye-catching, but I don't really think that's inherently bad. A vast majority of the media we consume has a degree of genericism, anime and manga included. At this point, I'd confidently say it's more about execution than it is originality, and I think Wistoria does a pretty decent job of that. Firstly, I like to touch on the characters, which there is some good and some bad. I've already said this show can be pretty generic, which remains true for the characters as well. We got angry classmate slash bully, side bitch who'll never get noticed, and that one guy who never opens his eyes. Honestly, I never really understood what was the purpose of that trope. Like, nigga, we know you can't see. Despite their stereotypical nature, I do appreciate the author giving these characters genuine motivations and a backstory that could be expanded on, but I will have to admit that most of the main cast kind of share this goal of proving someone wrong or making their family proud. I do understand that it's a Magic Academy, but I would like a little variance, you know, maybe somebody's sick and they need some money, something, you know? I really think this show looks amazing. It's full of these vibrant, saturated colors that just make your eyes pop, and the animation is too crispy. Look at this scene of them staring at the tower, their robes just flailing in the wind. Tell me that's not horror. I think the fights look pretty good as well. It's nothing life-changing, but the animation and the camera movement do a very good job of making these fights pretty fun to watch. Now, before I dive a bit deeper into the subtle things this show does well, I like to give y'all a little bit of lore. Basically, a long time ago, the world was shrouded in darkness and shit was not looking too good. Until the 5 most powerful wands rallied together in a Shadow Fight 2 montage and casted a seal over the sky, later becoming known as the Magia Vander, with the title being passed down through the generations. Anyways, let's move on to things I like. Even though Will is an extremely talented fighter, the story never really lets us forget how behind he is due to his lack of magic. It's apparent that besides that, he's actually an amazing student. But you can't forget, this world is completely dependent on magic. Sure, he's good at killing monsters, but he can't even track them cause he don't got search magic. And even when he does get a kill, he has to bring back proof cause he has no wand to keep track. Shit, he can't even open his own locker. It creates these situations where even though Will is an excellent combatant, his lack of magic is never understated. I'm recording this like 2 weeks later, y'all, my bad. Between episodes 1 and 2, we get to see Will in action a decent amount of times. So as the viewer, you already know, at least subconsciously, that he's insanely strong. Yet, we don't see his build until episode 3. Clearly, that specific thing isn't really a big deal, but I think it symbolizes how Wistoria approaches world building and storytelling. As opposed to thrashing us with raw exposition in episode 1, the story allows the viewer to ease into things. You don't gotta tell us that Will trains a lot or that he's super muscular. These things can be inferred within the context of the story. There's this scene where this guy named Headless, yes, Headless, takes the head of some people he killed and he just, well, look for yourself.
If you hadn't been playing your stupid games, Headless, maybe our cover wouldn't have been blown.
Come on, Mars, don't be angry.
Those heads look like our professors. They killed them?
Well, damn, ain't that just unsettling and creepy? Now, what are some things I forgot? Oh, I think the music is actually pretty nice. It's not B-stars or nothing, but it does a pretty good job of setting the tone. The character design is also pretty good, to be honest. I especially like how the Magia Vander always posted up on some chill shit, you feel me? Now, Wistoria isn't gonna be the next Attack on Titan or JJK, but if you're looking for a fun show with a good story and decent characters, this is the one for you. And they got a season 2 on the way. I've been reading the manga, so I can tell you, season 2 is gonna be pretty good. Anyways, overall, I'll give Wistoria Wand and Sword a cool 7.6 out of 10. Thanks for watching, man. Comment my slime to let me know you made it this far. I'ma fuck with y'all, boys.
Gotta keep out of my circle, boy. I'm drinking Jimmy Purple. I might pop out with new glasses, take a whole hit, move like Urkel. Searching to my hurt, pay to get shit down like Schmerz.
Tell you 100%, you play with the game, we'll get you murked. Let a nigga keep playing with me, feel like I'm down this Smurf. Bitch, I'm on the road, don't hit my phone unless it's urgent.